Hi, I'm Dick Eit with Bites by Eit. We are a boutique catering company based in Atlanta, Georgia, and we travel up and down the East Coast to Tennessee, New York, Connecticut, Nantucket, down to Florida, Boca Raton, Palm Beach, and Vero Beach. Today we're going to do some nice and quick and easy, simple ideas that I've done for my clients. The first one will be a smashed carrots with Parmesan, and the second item will be, I make an artichoke dip for a lot of clients, and one of my clients said, you know, we love the artichoke dip, could you make that into a melt? So take a nice thick rye bread and put the artichoke dip in the middle of it and fry the top and the bottom, make a little sandwich out of it. So it could be served as a hors d'oeuvre. So a fun thing, the smashed carrots will go as a side dish. You could also serve it as an hors d'oeuvre because they're bite-sized pieces. So let's get started. So we'll start off with the smashed carrots with Parmesan. And in another episode we did something similar to this. It wasn't a carrot. So we're going to smash it down to a rather thin thickness, maybe 1/4 of an inch, and we'll finish it off in the oven. I've already cooked these off in the oven with olive oil, sea salt, and pepper for about 45 to 50 minutes until they got some nice caramelization, some nice color to them. You don't want them to burn, but you want them so when you press it down, it smushes. I think these are fun little hors d'oeuvres to make. They're healthy-ish. I think they're healthy. I think cheese is good for you. I think carrots are good for you. And we'll do about 6 of these. So as a past hors d'oeuvre, you'd probably get, it also depends on how many hors d'oeuvres you're serving, but I typically serve a bunch of hors d'oeuvres, and I'd say 1 per person would be enough. You could do 2, but I think that would provide you with a bunch of leftovers. So maybe go with 1.5. Leftovers are a good thing to have, and my clients like it. If the clients don't, if it's too many, then we just give it to their guests and they love it. So you can't go wrong. You know, when you do these parties, you never really know what people are going to gravitate towards. So I tend to make a lot of extra food. I just don't want to run out of things. I really don't. So, clean this up. So the smashed carrots, I'll then put some grated Parmesan on top. I've already salted and peppered it, so I don't think we really need much more of that. But we do need a lot of Parmesan on each one. I think one of the best things to have is the Parmesan on the cookie sheets. It's nice and crunchy and it's good flavor, like a little mini pancake. It's pretty yummy. So put a generous amount of fresh grated Parmesan on it. And then we'll stick it in the oven, and we're just going to melt the cheese. This won't take long, maybe 5 minutes, and it won't take long to heat up the carrots also because they're so thin. So, you know, let's say, Dick, that's a lot, but it will turn out nicely, guarantee you that. Okay, so pop this in the oven. It's 400 degrees and I'll set my timer for 5 minutes. I'll probably give a little peekaboo at about 2.5, 3 minutes. So that while the carrots are in the oven cooking, whoops, I gotta set my timer for 5 minutes. Set timer 5 minutes.
5 minutes, counting down.
I will take some pine nuts and roast those off in the oven for 5 minutes. So about the same amount of time. You have to be careful with the pine nuts. It's at 400 degrees. I normally cook these at like 250, but I'll keep an eye on it. I don't want those to burn. Okay. So the second recipe we're going to do is the artichoke dip, and we're going to make a melt out of it. So a nice French bread, baguette, any kind of rye, sourdough. This happens to be a sourdough, and we'll make that like you would a tuna melt or a BLT melt. And we'll just add the dip into it and melt it, and it'll be pretty yummy. We'll use a fair amount of butter. So cut the artichokes into quarters. We'll add the mayonnaise, we'll add the fresh mozzarella. Now it's a question, do you want to add garlic to it? If I add some garlic to it, it'll be just a fair amount, just a little bit of garlic, it won't be a lot. I don't want to make it too overpowering. The artichokes don't have that much flavor to it. So maybe 1 clove of garlic we'll add to it. And this, so about 10 of these, and that's enough to make one pretty good sized sandwich. Add that in, fresh mozzarella, little mayonnaise, I'll add a little bit of lemon juice to it. Maybe a couple of teaspoons, tops. Make it nice and fresh and light. And we'll add a little bit of honey to it. So once I add some honey to something, which gives you permission to add something spicy if you wanted to. So again, if your client likes it a little hot and sweet, you could add some red pepper flakes to it if you wanted to. But I think that's nice. A little salt, a little pepper. And that's good to go. We'll set this off to the side. Clean up. And we'll have a ranch dressing that we'll dip it into. And I'll add some fresh cilantro to that. A coarse cut. Mix this up. Set this off to the side. We'll clean up once again. And then we'll slice the bread. I can smell that in the oven. So let me give that a look-see. See how we're doing. There's my timer. So I had set it properly. Let's take a look at the smashed carrots. Those look about right. So that looks good. And I'll give a few more minutes on the pine nuts. I'll set my timer another 2 minutes. Set timer 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Counting down.
In the meantime, I'll put a little bit of garlic in my artichoke. Maybe a half a clove. Cut it up finely. A nice mince. I add about 3/4 of that, not all of it. I just don't really want to overpower the melt. Okay, so that's ready to go. We'll clean up again. Let's cut the bread. I'd say about 3/4 of an inch thick is where we want to be. I bought this bread 2 days ago, and so it's starting to get a little crunchier, which I like. I like a little crunchier bread. So, pretty thick on that, and we'll be ready to assemble our artichoke dip melt. I'm gonna check. There we go. On the pine nuts, I can smell them. Have a good color. Very nice. And that's good to go. So I'll get the pan up to speed, and we will melt the artichoke melt. Excellent. So the carrots look fantastic. The pan's up to speed. I put a little bit of olive oil in there and a ton of butter. I'll put down the first piece of bread, get that soaked up nicely. It's at about 60% of the overall heat. I'll spoon on the artichoke and mozzarella, a little bit of garlic mixture. The thicker the better. Okay. And then a little Parmesan, shredded Parmesan. I could shave it myself, but I just want it a little bit thicker, and it would take forever to shave that on there. And put the other piece of bread on top, squeeze it down a tad, and that's ready to go. In the meantime, I will assemble the carrots. As I was talking about, you can see the Parmesan, how nice that is. I'll get that out with each piece of the smashed carrots, so they get more of the good stuff when they bite into it. And then I'll come back over it. You can come back over with some more shaved Parmesan that's been cooked. Put that on top. You can never have too much Parmesan. Let's get a little bit over here. Good. We're good to go on that. Clean the plate up a little bit. Okay. Clean up my cutting board. I'll just put a very light touch of the salt on there and a light touch of freshly ground pepper. We'll wait for this melt to melt, probably 3 to 5 minutes per side. I don't want it on too high of a temperature. I don't want it to burn. I want to give it enough time to melt and get the cheese so it's gooey. So stay tuned. Great, so this has been on for about 5-6 minutes for the first side, again at medium temperature. We flipped it over once, we're going to flip it over a second time and then transfer it, and then we'll cut it. So we have nice color on that. Turn that off. And we'll cut this. I'll probably cut it into probably 6 to 8 pieces. And I'll cut this in half. I use a nice serrated knife. And put this on the plate. I'll put 2 pieces on the plate without the ranch, and I'll put 2 pieces with the ranch dressing on the bottom. You can see how thick it is, how nice it is. There we go. The last part I'll do is I'll take the roasted pine nuts and put them on the smashed carrots. It'll add some great flavors to it, a little crunch, a little more texture to it. Again, just take it to that next level where it's unexpected. And there you have it. An artichoke dip melt with a ranch dressing. And then we have a smashed carrots with Parmesan and toasted pine nuts. I'm Dick Eit with Bites by Eit. Over the past seasons, you guys have done a super job of making comments and asking questions. So if you want a response, please direct message me on my Bites by Eit, that's B-I-T-E-S by E-Y-D-T on Instagram or on Facebook, and I'll get back to you with those questions. Well, thank you again, and we'll see you soon.